Good evening. Welcome to the November 12th, 2025 Abington Finance Committee meeting. We have a good agenda for our meeting tonight. We will get an update on the overall status of the budget. We will do our first round of meetings with department heads. Tonight we'll be meeting with the assessors department. Yolanda's here, already sitting at the table with us. We have planning. Do we have planning?
She'll be here at 7:30.
Okay, we have planning coming at 7:30. We have inspectional services with our new head of inspectional services. Welcome, Nick.
Hi.
And the town accountant, surprisingly sitting in his usual seat. And then we will go through standing business, liaison reports, correspondence, which I did not check. I apologize. Review of minutes, of which we have none to review just yet. And discussing our next meeting, which is next Wednesday. So that's our agenda. And I would say we'll kick it off with the update from the town manager's department, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put that off until later, and I'm going to let Yolanda go over her budget first, since she's already come up, and we'll just jump right into that and we'll get to the overall later.
Sure.
Very good. Good evening. My name is Yolanda. I'm your town assessor, and I would like to start with a mission. The role of the town tax assessor is integral to the local government's ability to fairly and efficiently administer property taxation. The mission is to determine value of real and personal property at full market value. The assessors are required by chapters 59, 68, 61, 121 of the Massachusetts General Law to perform the appraisal of approximately 6,252 parcels of property. The assessor's work ensures a stable and equitable revenue stream for the town, supporting essential public services such as education, public safety, and infrastructure. Additionally, duties include maintaining accurate property records, conducting inspection, analyzing market trends, and ensuring compliance with the state and local regulations. The assessor serves as a liaison between the town and the property owners, helping resolve concerns and educating residents about the assessment process. Accurate assessments foster taxpayer trust and minimize disputes, promoting transparency in local government operations. Our achievements are: we have completed the Department of Revenue fiscal year 25 interim year adjustment. We are currently in the process of fiscal year 26 full revaluation of all 5,835 real property parcels and 410 personal property parcels. We implemented fiscal year 26 new growth that has resulted in 440,857 in revenue for the town. We reviewed and granted over 247 property exemptions, tax deferrals, hardship, and tax work-off programs. We also established annual tax levy and set the tax rate in a timely manner. Our goals are to value real and personal property efficiently, fairly, and accurately, and at full market value, to provide an accurate calculation of new growth due to new construction and renovations, to continue to provide excellent service to residents and businesses, to educate the public on understanding the role and purpose of our office, by organizing public workshops, which we have done at the senior center as well as near Gaza. Also maintain regular communication with town departments and town boards. Assessor highlights, fiscal year '26, we had an increase in expenses due to revaluation. The assessors used to do a revaluation every 3 years, but now it went up to 5 years. So we had an increase. And for fiscal year '27, we do not have any major changes. Salaries, I have an assistant assessor, Jody, as well as clerk, Michelle. And these are just basic salaries based on the increases. Longevity is based on how many years you work times a rate.
And no changes last year to this?
No. Yep. These are, go ahead.
Are you guys part of any of the unions? Are you the management union?
I am not in the union. Michelle is in the union. She's the vice president of the union. Yeah. So we still the chart, which is me, the assessor, Joe, the assistant, and Michelle, the
Clerk.
So here's a budget. If you notice, we went over the salaries, so if you notice under the expenses, under professional and technical services, in fiscal '26, we had 66,100. That's because it is a revaluation year, like I said, every 5 years.
Yep.
Next year, it's gonna be what we call an interim year adjustment. It's almost half,
Yep.
33,100, and it will be almost half for the next 5 years till the next revaluation. So, that-
It looks like for '23 and '24, it was closer to what it was last year, but '25 was significantly lower. Do you know what the discrepancy is there?
because it was every 3 years, so probably that was the third year. That's why it was so much lower. And now we jump into the 5-year cycle, so that's the difference, yeah. We don't have much. Office supplies are low. The town car, they estimating that it might need some work, but that's. And,
So that's the level service for the
yeah,
vehicle
the
supplies?
6, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yep, that makes sense. Does anyone have questions on any of the expense lines?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, small.
Yeah. It all seems pretty straightforward.
All right. Yolanta, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
You
you.
got to kick things off, and it was a nice, easy start.
But I was-
And you're already done, so
Thank you,
you've got
guys.
the benefit of being the first one out of the.
Absolutely.
Like, first one to not have to come here again.
Well, happy holidays to everyone.
You too.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nick, nice to meet you.
So, relatively new situation. The inspectional services, I was oversight of the health department. The budgets are still separate, so I'm gonna address them separately if that works for everyone.
Absolutely.
So-
So just real quick first, partially for the committee, partially for people who are watching at home. You are Nick
I'm Nick
Jenks?
Jenks, I'm the Director of Inspectional Services, mostly your town's building commissioner.
And we brought you on how long ago now?
March of 2024
Okay.
is when I started as a local inspector, and then it was February of 2025 that I became the conditional building commissioner, and then April it became official.
And so that you know, we have Floyd Bartram, Emily, whose last name even she can't pronounce,
It's true.
and Abby Gendro. I'm Matt Solomon. And do we have Greg online at this point? I see 3 participants.
I don't see
but
anyone.
I can't tell. Okay. So we have several people, a couple of people who are sick, and one who's out of town, so, and 2 empty slots on our committee. So if anybody's watching this, please volunteer. Contact Sean Riley, the town moderator, if you want to join the finance committee and have all kinds of fun with us every Wednesday night. So introductions out of the way. Sorry about that.
All good. So,
Thanks.
I'll start-
Which department do you want to start with first?
inspectional services.
All right.
So the traditional building department.
Yes.
Primary mission of the Abington Building Department is to administer the state's building codes and local zoning bylaws. Building codes are life safety issues, and zoning bylaws are quality of life matters. The supervision and enforcement both are essential to help increase the safety and quality of life for Abington residents and business owners. This also translates into increased property values and contributes to smart growth for the community. We oversee many other state and federal regulations. These include the state mechanical, plumbing, gas, electrical, accessibility, energy codes, along with floodplain management, and we assist with the Wetlands Protection Act. We interact daily with numerous departments, helping from current application review, perform daily inspections to ensure benchmarks are achieved in construction projects, along with annual life safety inspections, investigating complaints from residents. We provide oversight to the Health Department, Zoning Board of Appeals, Conservation Commission, and the Department of Weights and Measures. We're grateful for the dedication and service provided by the inspectors and staff for helping us move ahead with numerous construction projects and all our emergencies seen by the community. For achievements recently, underwent quite a few internal changes. Ended up with 2 fewer full-time employees. And that's been since February of last year. We've managed to keep level service throughout that time. We've assumed oversight of the health department. I've taken on the role of conservation agent to help with clear communication between a volunteer commission and applicants and the general public, along with more effective enforcement. The building department's office manager has taken over oversight of the town's insurance, alleviating that role from the select board's office. We've had oversight of 2 major projects above the typical expected for a town this size, including a 198-unit apartment building and the DPW fire station complex. And we've moved our public record storage into our permitting software, which is included in our fee that we pay for that, and saved about $10,000 that we're paying a yearly fee just for hosting those documents. Goals for the next year, hoping to get zoning, conservation, and annual inspection applications into our online permitting service. Those currently are still paper applications we take in. Especially the annual inspections will really help keep track of them for everyone, help us make sure people stay up to date, we're getting the fees, we're making sure things are safe. And then just continue to keep a level service community while working through a pretty tight budget year. We're doing our best to do our part.
It's tight.
The
We understand.
Yeah,
I know
Scott
you're
and
not-
Andrew-
Not in an easy position.
Yeah, Scott and Andrew have done a good job giving us a heads up for, and we're just trying to make it work. Highlights for the year, taking over that oversight of the health department. This all kind of stuff I already went through. Reduced staffing, we're trying to keep level service, and then those major projects. Revenue, we see a pretty big jump. Just, I wouldn't expect that same jump to continue. We had that 198 unit building with pretty major fees associated with it. This next year, assuming we don't have any other major project, which I know there's one we're hoping for, the permit fees will go back more into that $500,000 range. That have become somewhat typical. I will say we also waived a little over $700,000 permit fees for the DPW fire station project. Doesn't make sense to charge the town permit fees, but that is work we have taken on that would have associated that fee, and we're doing all the
You're doing the
work
work
of it.
associated with it
Yeah.
without the payment,
Yeah.
essentially.
So, I like to pretend my revenue was higher, but
Just shifting from one line to another. doesn't-
yeah, it doesn't make sense to charge
Doesn't-
our fire department money.
It's like charging yourself for being an Uber driver.
Staff has changed slightly. We currently don't have a local inspector. I don't believe we plan to, in this next cycle, hire a local inspector. I'm told there's a light at the end of the tunnel, so hopefully that's in the future, but currently not there. Also zoning agent, we've eliminated. Office manager's new position we created. One of our administrative assistants moved into that role. Melissa, who's been with the town for a while now, does a great job. It's kind of freed her up to take on some more responsibility, and allowed us to move some stuff around, so she's able to support me at a much greater capacity, and kind of eliminate some of those inspector and agent roles. Organizational chart. It wouldn't let me edit that. It's a little different than what we're seeing there. It's now, yeah, that pretty much is it. I'd stick Melissa's office manager right below me and then drop it down to assistant inspectors, but it was telling me I had some kind of cookie issue with it.
Cookie issues are never as fun as they sound like they're.
No. So, as we move into budget, I'd first like to point out, based on where we were January 1st of 2025, we were on pace, if we kept the same staff, for about $413,000 for inspectional services salaries.
So we're looking at approximately 100,000, a little over 100,000.
Yeah, about 120,000 less is what we're working at now. It's been going for a while. It's been going well. We've been keeping up with things. I don't think it's a great 5-10 year plan how we have it currently going, but for a few years,
For a rainy day plan.
we're making do. So I'm confident we can keep it going for, the next year or two. But it's a big drop in money. Separately from that, things stayed pretty consistent. We're up a little bit for our photocopier, scanner. Those fees just went up. And then, where did I drop? Aside from that, it's stayed pretty consistent. I've knocked a little bit of travel off, moved a couple things around. But overall, this reflects me being down about 5,000 total. I have it figured more around 125, just based on that staffing. Looking further down the line, sealer weights and measures, it's just the standard 2% COLA. Their expenses are pretty consistent. Board of Appeals, that's just a stipend, again, 2%. Isn't much excitement, a little bit of office supplies for the Board of Appeals. They're mostly just an extension of the building department. Aside from that, any questions you all have for me, happy to answer.
Anyone?
Sorry, where are we getting the 125 number? 25,000?
That,
Did I miss?
yeah, that was me taking what we had for January 1st, 2025 staffing. If that was the same staff at the same rates that everyone was getting at that time, we would be at 413,000 as a proposed 2027 budget. So that's not on here, that's just me
Oh,
running
okay.
the math out.
Gotcha.
So it's not that you're not seeing it, it's just it isn't there. Happy to share that if anyone wants it, but that's just me looking back at
that's-
payroll then and
Just
running it
making
out.
sure I didn't miss anything.
Yep. Yeah, I was working through that in my head too, to figure out exactly where we were and coming to that. So essentially, if we had kept the staffing that we had
Yeah,
at that time,
Yeah.
we would be 120,000
Yeah.
over what we're projecting for this year.
Right.
correct.
But you're,
Because of those two full-time.
yeah, but you're managing to keep the services at the same level.
Yeah, it's,
Which is impressive.
yeah, I've taken on more, Melissa's taken on more, Melissa's also gotten a raise from what she would have had based on this, but she's
Yep.
taken on a lot more responsibility. And then we've lost the local inspector role and the zoning agent role, and then one of those administrative roles turned into an office manager
Yep.
role. So, and it's been working really well.
Good.
I'm just curious, the difference that you guys came up with 100,000, is that because you've been asked to cut your the department had been asked previously to cut budget and those are the jobs that were cut, or?
So we had two positions resign and we never refilled them.
Okay.
Well, actually, we had three resign, we filled one.
And I'm guessing, and either Andrew or Nick, you can confirm this, part of not filling them and coming up with the plan that we're working right now was knowing that we had the budget crunch ahead of us.
Yeah, it was pretty much Melissa
Finding
and I
ways
for
to-
about 3-4 months last year, leading up to the end of the fiscal year. Ran pretty dry and
Yeah.
managed to stay under budget barely for that quarter, or that year. That was not sustainable. Got one more person on. We've been operating pretty well with it. It seems like a good system we got in place and, I think eventually it could lead to some burnout, but
Yeah.
currently we're making do and we're confident we can continue to make do, assuming everything else stays pretty level in town for,
And
at least another year or two.
And I think it's a good example for anybody who's watching, sort of the people of the town, to the stuff the town is trying to do, knowing that there's a budget crunch coming and
Yeah.
knowing that we have harder fiscal times ahead. We're not just kind of sitting back and taking everything and then dropping a bill on the taxpayers at the last minute.
Yeah.
We're trying to do everything we can to make things work, but
Yeah.
make them work as efficiently as possible.
Yeah,
So,
Scott and Andrew have been propping us for a
Same.
while now
yeah,
to get ready. So we're taking it seriously.
yeah, no, we appreciate it. Any other questions for inspectional services? Abby, you look like you have something.
Yeah, I know Andrew's explained this to me like 100 times, so I'm sorry to ask again. But so the money that comes in from fees, is that the money then that balances out the general fund, or does that money all stay in inspectional services?
It goes to the general fund.
Okay, sorry, I know you've explained it.
Yeah, there was a period, it might have been before Andrew came here, where we were
We did
doing.
play that game.
Where we were playing that game, where
There's a few
we had
towns that do it that way.
we had a revolving fund and we were paying
Salaries.
both salaries and outside inspectors for various things out of that fund specifically. And that fund typically had more than what we were paying to the inspectors and the salaries, and it made sense to move it to the general fund and to budget out salaries.
Yeah, I know a couple
Payments
smaller
there,
towns
so.
that have it revolving.
Yeah.
They're generally kind of a per inspection basis on a
Yeah.
lot of their stuff. Whereas, we have
Yeah,
part-time electrical plumbing, they do their hours every day, so they're available every day for everyone.
Yep.
It's not just, they get $50 when they get a phone call kind of thing,
Yep.
which is how some towns do it.
yeah. Yep. Good. Other questions before we move on to health? All right. Tackle health. Know that you're fairly new to the health department.
Yeah, this is a new one, learning the ropes of it still. So Abington Board of Health's mission is to protect, preserve, and promote the health and well-being of all Abington residents. This mission is met through enforcement of health codes and regulations while promoting a healthy community. Achievements, similar, reorganized to function with two fewer full-time staff members. Board of Health, I will say, is definitely seeing a different level of service with that. Chris Schultz, the health agent, works very hard. It's not a him issue.
It's
There's no way he
staffing.
could keep up with with the three
what
people's
three
roles.
people did. Yeah. And I can say, as I've said in years past, we have fully missed our opportunities for town marketing and events having an employee named Eddie Murphy. Did not take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, he'd probably be into it too. He was a pretty funny guy. We turned one vehicle back over to the town manager's office. The Board of Health had two. Ended up actually being, one went to me, and then my vehicle went back into, I guess, the general pool. I don't know if it's been assigned yet. My understanding though is another department has a vehicle that's close to failing, that rather than the town paying 30,
For a
40
new
grand for a new
vehicle.
one, there'll be I think the vehicle I was driving was only like a 2021, so it's not, a beater getting turned over. It's a real asset. Recently, they partnered with MHOA to do a sting for underage tobacco sales. They found 5 violators, collected $7,000 in fees, and kind of helped keep, that under 21 tobacco sale down in town. Goals we have in this budget to try to get a part-time employee to staff the compost site. Something that we hear a lot from the community that they'd like it to be open more. Currently, it's just volunteer-based or senior work-off hours, which, when you're volunteering and you have something else come up, it's, not a priority to get there. Like to organize some third-party vaccine clinics, promote the welfare of residents, ensuring their security, protect them from the spread of infectious disease and environmental hazards by upholding the rules and regulations of public health, ensure local access to safe, quality care and education benefit the entire population, increase staff education, training, credentialing, and foster professional growth through encouragement of attending industry conferences, trainings, and meetings. Again, highlights, this kind of stuff I already went through. Drop the staff, try to help with the budget. Like to get that compost site employee, and then, trying to still do some vaccine clinics. I know there's some pharmacists and stuff that do offer things like that. Just trying to set it up, try to make it easy for, residents to get that vaccine without having to go wait in a line or set it up themselves with a clinic. As we move into revenue, it's all pretty similar. I think the one thing I'd like to point out before we get to the budget is Board of Health miscellaneous, that 33,000 that came in. That's gonna line up in the budget with, I think, other recycling is what it's called. That is pretty much at the compost site, they take mattresses and things like that. It costs like $35 to get rid of it. We charge 50, the truck costs a little bit too. So we put 25,000 in here, that's what then turns into that 33. It's trying to just kind of offset that and stay pretty level. But that's what that other money is and where the other recycling is coming from.
So sorry, explain that we're taking in,
So at the compost site, we'll take in hard to manage waste is what
Yes.
it's called. So mattresses,
I
box
have,
springs.
I have paid to have things taken care
Yeah.
of at the compost site
So they-
myself, so I am familiar,
Yeah,
but just,
so we'll take it in, but we can't get rid of it for free. So they charge when you take it in, things like that. So that's what that collection of fees is, that 33,000 from last year. And before, we didn't have the line item for how we pay for that. It was just kind of getting tagged in there.
yep,
So that's been added in as I think 25,000. Where'd I put it? And other recycling.
sorry, where,
Other recycling, which would be on the second page of budget, under waste expenses. So you can see in 25, it was, nothing was budgeted really, I mean, $400, but almost 21,000 was spent.
oh, there.
So that 21,000 that was spent is with that 33,000 collected.
Okay.
So it's
So
trying to actually make a
ball-
line item for that.
Ballpark
Yeah,
between 5 and 10,000,
yeah, the goal is to try to kind of break
Over,
even there.
yeah.
But just bringing that over, so I
Yeah.
don't want you guys surprised that 25 grand kind of got tossed into the budget.
it's not really,
Understanding where it comes from is
Yep.
important. So then as we get into the rest of the budget, salaries, or did I blow right by people? Yeah, I did. So we have our health agent, Chris Schultz. He's in there, obviously he's the whole deal now, he's important. And then hoping for that part-time compost site employee, which would be about 20,000. They'd be part-time, so wouldn't get the full retirement, all the benefits like that. I think the goal would be a retiree, someone more of that nature, similar to the volunteers we currently get. Get them more on a schedule though. And
sorry, 1 second real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Did you text or email to Greg?
I emailed.
Okay. Sorry,
no problem. It's that
One
little
more.
there if it helps you.
where, oh,
On the bottom left there.
yeah. I think that I've sent that to him before. Actually, I know I sent it to Emily.
Which is what I said.
Okay, so let me,
It was in the email for today's agenda.
yeah. That doesn't always help, Greg.
We try.
Okay, he's getting, so, sorry about the interruption.
No problem at all.
It's been a tough night to
Yeah.
get everybody on.
Are we pausing a sec for him or?
No,
Keep rolling?
you can keep rolling.
Sounds good.
I'll jump in and have questions regardless.
Yeah, no worries. If he wants to go back a little blind, that's fine with me too.
Doubtful.
So, as we get into expenses, obviously salaries down, with the loss of the 2 employees. What we have in here is including the 20,000 for that part-time, that we hope to have.
Yep,
As we move through, significant ones, vaccine, we no longer have the public health nurse, so it doesn't make sense for us to buy the vaccine because we have no one to administer it. So again, we're hoping to set up clinics, that would be through, same as you see CVS and everything offering the free vaccines, it would just be set up, the town wouldn't have money in or out on that. Be more just us trying to get the word out and get people to them. Dropped a little bit on travel, dues, training. Again, less staff, less travel, less training. Health is an important one to stay up to the minute and attend a lot of conferences and training. It's something that's very quick to change. So it is a very important line item there. But obviously, before it was Chris and Lindsay, now it's just Chris, so
Yep.
it doesn't take quite as much money to keep him up to date. Our big one, the trash service. I believe that's still being negotiated. We were told to kind of leave it where it is while that gets worked out. That one's getting worked out above my head. The barrels, the 35,000, most of the barrels in town are getting to be end of their life. It's just the cycle we're in. So it, as they break, they have to be replaced. The
Do we have and sorry, I'm trying to figure out exactly which page we're on.
the top of it is waste collection salaries, which
Okay.
doesn't have
Yep.
anything. And
Yep.
then the SVC, that's the actual trash shift service. I believe Scott's working on negotiating that contract, but for now he said to put the 1.4 in there.
Okay.
Then the recycle.
Okay.
Cart
there it is.
supplies.
Cart supplies.
Yeah,
Got
that
it.
35,000. They're only supposed to last about 5 years, so it's
So
constantly kind of going.
what have we seen in the last, and this might be an Andrew question, what have we seen in the last maybe quarter or 6 months for costs there? And do we project that'll increase over the next 6 months, year, et cetera?
I can get that for you.
Okay.
But if prices are going up, I imagine the cost of replacement will also go up.
Yeah.
Were they, oh, sorry.
Oh, you can go first.
Were they all replaced? So I'm looking at the actual numbers from 22, 23, 24 are 0. Is that because they were all replaced like in 20 or 21?
They were new in,
They were-
do you know what year? You weren't here yet.
No.
I don't think you were here yet.
But it's not because we
It's-
don't have those numbers available. The cost
Right,
was
no, the
legitimately
cost
0.
It was
Okay.
probably not 0. There were probably a handful of barrels that needed to be
Sure.
replaced
Some
because
barrels.
they were broken, but I think we probably had some extras when we first purchased them all.
Okay.
But Abby, do you remember when it was that we got the barrels that we have now?
I feel like we've had them for a long time.
Liz?
Let's say like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, like it's definitely been more than 5 years.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was like, how do you get a replacement barrel? Like we've had these barrels since
You-
I was in high school.
You
Yeah,
asked.
you call the health
You
department.
called.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Hey, mine are fine, but like,
Yep.
it's just like,
Mine are fine as well, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why they kept the pickup there to go swap them out.
Yeah. So,
Some of the side streets and stuff, they last a lot longer. If you're on like
Yeah.
Reed
on
Street,
18
and then
or
you get the
139.
wind and cars and things
Yeah.
take damage and, it's not always that someone abuses them.
Yeah,
Someone
no,
just-
definitely.
Things just happen to them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
yep.
Chris isn't swapping them out because they smell and they need clean. It's when
Yes.
there's a wheel off or handle broken or once you get holes and animals start getting in there, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is. Like you guys have them, and then if they're like bad, they come by.
Yeah, they get swapped out. The junk ones end up going to the compost site. Actually, Chris is working on it now. They need to be somewhat disassembled before they can be picked up.
Okay.
Which that's part of the cost too, is then getting rid of them.
Yep.
Yeah, the wheels and handles need to come off, and then that little bar in front, the only way to get it off is to cut it out.
Yeah.
Which is a pain, and they won't take them until you cut that out, so that they stack better. So it's a little labor intensive. That again is something that I would love to have more off of Chris and more off the person who's hopefully sitting at the compost site
Right.
for 12-ish hours a week.
Yeah.
Because that's something that you get a line of people and there's no one, you can be doing stuff with the barrels or maintaining things and everything like that.
Yep.
It's a little silly that our health agent's doing it, but
Yes.
it's what we're at right now.
Yep.
And it would be pretty expensive if someone just come in to do that.
Before we move on from trash too, are we doing another thing like the vote we did at town meeting, or are we moving on from that?
That has not been decided. Scott's leaning is that the people spoke at the last election My leaning is that it was a fairly close vote at the last election.
I'm kind of leaning more
and
towards
if-
you, but-
And if the fiscal situation is different this year, then people might have different opinions this year, but it's not decided yet.
I feel like the people said put it on an actual ballot, so we could try that method
Yeah.
too.
To- Definitely something that is not fully decided. And to the people watching at home, feel free to voice your opinion, let me know, let anybody know. We have Nicole Embry, who's running for select board here in the audience. You can let her know what your opinions are. So let Nick know. He'll pass the word on.
The compost site maintenance, big goal for this year is they had a swap shop set up in a trailer up there. That's been closed for a while. Try to get that back open. Again, that would work in concert with the part-time. The trailer needs a ramp in order to be accessible, so it's mostly covering that cost. Sharps disposal, staying the same, we've got pretty well there. It's an important service, so we're not worried about, where needles are going. Hazardous waste, that went up. It was a little high last year, it's on pace to be higher this year, just looking at where we are, third of the way through the year. I think we're already sitting around $3,000. So that kind of goes in bunches where we kind of store it all and then it all goes out, but it's running a little high, so I figured I'd bump that one up. And again, it keeps people from throwing things in the trash that shouldn't be there, leading to environmental hazards or chucking in the bushes or something like that, which would be even worse.
As we saw at the fire DPW building site.
Yeah.
Stuff that people threw out perhaps 100 years ago that
It doesn't go away.
caused a lot of
Stuff I
problems.
find in my backyard, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So
So,
we would greatly prefer people deal with hazardous waste appropriately now.
yeah, absolutely. That other recycling, that's the line I gave you guys the heads up about. And then, as we go down, civil defense. that roll-
Dues and fees, no concerns about them staying the same?
No,
Okay.
that's just some of the memberships we have for
I
recycling
know.
programs, stuff like that.
So some of the newer members, a lot of times, year to year, the dues and fees for memberships that the departments have will increase. There's nothing we can really do about
Yeah.
that, so
And that I have,
I
my,
certainly hope none of the agencies that we are paying dues or fees to are increasing this year, but we
yeah,
have to pay them if they do, so.
yeah, a lot of the health ones are more like proactive grant recycling type programs. They do a good job of trying to keep things reasonable, because it's stuff we want people doing.
Yes.
Civil defense, that's coming out. Emergency management's no longer part of the health department. Similarly, communication service, something like that, it's gonna go, I'm not sure, I think Wayne's budget.
Yeah, well, so that money is for Code Red, and we'll be moving it to IT.
Okay.
The,
Both of these sections are moving to IT?
Just the amounts for Code Red,
Okay.
which is the,
civil defense
Civil
communication.
defense,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just, I believe, are just being eliminated.
Okay.
Before Board of Health had emergency management in it, that's no longer the case.
Okay.
It's
And that's like
closed.
calling 911?
No, emergency management director is, like forming the plan for if Abington had a tornado, what would
Oh,
we do?
okay.
It's really cold, let's open the senior center overnight in case people need somewhere warm to sleep. That's very base level. They did a
Which-
lot more, but it's,
Which I think we've done once in the time that I've lived here,
yeah, but I believe the
and I think it was the high school.
police chief maybe is gonna take over emergency management. I know at one point that was what the charter called for. Public health nursing, it's funding we have in there. if something comes up that we need to get a nurse, you know, part-time to get us through something, we want to have that money in there, ready to go. It's money that we hope we don't spend, but it's, if we need it, it's going to be very important. So kind of looking at that as some of the vaccine money that got eliminated, we want to have this standby fund for if we need a public health nurse.
What would we need a public health nurse for? Sorry, I know that's probably a very basic
Yeah,
question.
some kind of, I mean, broad strokes, some kind of pandemic, even if it's on a lower scale type of thing, where you want to get someone in who's more involved, knowledgeable, even with just a public outreach. Or if we ended up, you know, just if we had a really, really bad flu season or something, people were struggling with it, we wanted someone out there to kind of talk to residents, things like that, who has that public, you know, health nurse experience. Myself, I have no medical kind of background, neither does Chris. You know, he's great as a health agent, all the health codes, but if it's some kind of medical treatment, that's not what him or I will be doing.
That's good.
Nor should we be.
Yeah.
So we want to have that funding in there if it's, you know, hey, we need this, how do we get it?
And I think I watched a health board meeting. Did I hear they said that a local nurse from another town could possibly help assist if we ever needed someone to help, like a part-time nurse or?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a few people out there who I think would be happy to do it. It's just, you know, we want to have that money ready to go if we need it. And it's hopefully, you know, everything's pretty healthy for the next ever. And we never need it, but we definitely, you know, I think we've all learned recently that things can go wrong health-wise, and we want to have someone around who can help.
And what does the money actually go to?
It would pay for that person if it was used.
No, but what I'm saying is like what, so if there is an issue, what does that person do in that time period?
It would depend on what the issue is. It could just be having someone here to talk people through, you know, hey, I'm having these symptoms, do I have this? What should I do?
Wouldn't that be their doctor?
That would be the primary, but not everybody has quick access to a doctor. This isn't something that, you know, a couple kids got the stomach bug, it's something on a grander scale.
Public health emergency.
A public health emergency where this would come into play, where, you know, people are scared, people get overwhelmed. It's someone from the town to kind of help out with that. You know, could be possibly administering some kind of medication, but I think it would be more based on having that representative from the town to help people understand, explain, know what to do. You know, and it's, like I said, it's money we hope to not use, but it's important to have it there.
Would they also be responsible for help reaching out to certain people if they were in an area that was affected, or like if you go to a restaurant and someone was sick, does the health board get involved with reaching out?
So the health agent tracks that.
Okay.
That gets tracked, and also there's a list of diseases when they pop up that they get tracked to try to figure out, to trace them, understand, you know, where things can be coming from. And that happens on some things at, you know, case one, to try to head things off before they spread. And that's something, you know, Chris has just gotten up to speed on recently. It's, I forget the name of the program, but it's, you know, a state-run program that you are putting info in to kind of keep track and help people understand. So if, you know, 4 people are here and they all have it, you know, we need to address it.
Yeah.
A lot of the data goes into there and it just ends up not being significant, but it's important to have that. And that's something Chris does as the health agent. So it's not something that we need the public health first for. This again would be more, you know, an emergency situation, or, you know, for some reason it came to be that we really felt the need for it. I can't predict any situation that would call for it right off the bat, but it's important to have that funding there.
Yeah.
Is that good, Greg? Answer your question?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Okay. Other questions on the health department, as that was the last line on the expense budget?
I have a selfish question. Where does one drop sharps off in Abington?
At the health department. So they have to be in an actual
In a
sharp
red?
bin. Yep,
Yep, okay.
yep. So
And health department is downstairs.
health department's downstairs.
Here at town hall for anyone
Here at
watching,
town hall.
downstairs.
If Chris isn't there for some reason, don't leave them on his counter. Bring them over to the building department. And
Okay.
we will then bring them in. And to be honest, there's a special box they go in that then somebody comes once a week, month, whenever, picks that box up, and then the town doesn't see it again. I know we,
I do like the advice of don't leave needles out on the counter at the health department.
yeah,
That makes it sound like that's happened multiple times.
Oh, it's
I've come
100%
in, the
has.
door I use is
Every
right.
warning that you see on a product that sounds ridiculously stupid is because someone has done it.
Yeah, I mean, the bins are kind of tamper-proof, but still, it doesn't
Yeah.
take much to knock one over and, you know, you don't know what's in there. So we like to put them in that box where they stay until they're picked up.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, yeah, of course.
Any other questions, selfish or otherwise?
Those are also important questions.
They are.
I've been
And
accumulating.
you're not going to be the only person in town that has that
That's
question.
right.
No, it's a pretty popular program, actually. There's a lot of people who come in and utilize it.
Greg, anything else? Greg is
No,
searching for the
thank
mute
you.
button. Yep. All right, Nick, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
Great
thank you.
to,
It was nice
great,
meeting you all.
great to have you
Yeah.
here. Great to meet you. All right, next up, we have Liz Shea from the planning department.
See you there. Hi, Andrew. Glad
Hello.
to see you're feeling better.
We'll see if the cough medicine stays.
I hope it stays.
Uh-oh.
Hello, good
Lot,
evening.
lot of stuff going around. We're talking about the health department and nurses. There's
And I'm
definitely,
like, and for a good reason.
definitely a lot going around.
So I have more paper for you that you don't need, but you do need.
I love your water bottle. That's so cute.
Thank you. That was a Target Valentine special.
Oh, I
Just
love
saying. So what I'm giving you guys is a list of grants
Thank you.
that we have gotten. Because a lot of it goes back into the goals, achievements, and all of that stuff, so. I thought I would put it all together, and I'm happy to say that at the end, and I'm not, there's 2 grants we've applied for that we haven't heard for yet. One's an ADA grant. The deputy town planner, Kevin Cogan, is now the ADA administrator in town, I guess. I can't remember his exact title, which is bad. Between that grant for $100,000 and a Green Communities grant to finish up the senior center, we will be at over $4 million in grants. So I just wanted to give that to everybody.
Thank you, Liz.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you to all of the people in the town who work on applying for and receiving those grants. Because that, as anyone who has been following our meetings and knows the $7 to $8 million deficit we're projecting right now, knows adding $4 million to that would be very painful. So.
Right. Not something we want to do.
So all of the grants, and we have a lot of people in the town. I know the DPW applies for a lot of grants.
They do.
Gets a lot of grants.
They get a lot of good infrastructure
We have a
grants.
lot of people that do a really good job of finding and applying for and receiving grants.
Finding
So,
money.
yeah.
Yeah, this year's big prize for us was the $1.2 million for the water pipe in front of the 2 new municipal buildings and the fire station. We had applied, I think, for 4 grants, and that was the biggest one. And at the end of the day, that's the one, I'm like, we need to get that, right? And we did. So that came out of, interestingly enough, just a tiny background story on that, the MBTA Catalyst Fund. For people who don't know what that is, it's a fund that the governor set up for communities that were MBTA compliant. And because we were MBTA compliant from the first time we needed to be, we have had access to that money since she set it up. We actually applied for a grant before this, didn't get it. We went back a second time with this grant and got funded, so.
So this goes to the discussion that we had, was it last year or the year before? I think it was last year, where towns around, some of the towns in the general South Shore area were not MBTA compliant. And not only were they not getting grants like this, but they were then forced by the state, where the state drew their zoning maps and
Took their money back.
made them compliant without the town having a say in the matter of where they would put the zones and things like that, so. Good work to our zoning board and everybody who worked to make that happen appropriately.
It was a haul. But thanks to the townspeople, because I literally got up at town meeting for anybody who was there, and not a question.
Yep.
So I don't know if everybody was overly educated, didn't care, I don't know.
I think
But it all worked.
I think you explained it very well.
Yeah, we were good to go for that. So where would you like to start?
You do not need, and I'm saying this late, it's the first time we have the department heads here, so it's the first time this year. You don't need to read the mission and achievements
Okay,
that are
well,
on,
that's good,
on the paper. You
because-
can just kind of skim through and give us some of the highlights.
So that the mission statement is what it is, it's on the website, we're required under Mass General Law to do yada, 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 yada. So, moving on, I actually just came.
And just real quick, for anyone watching at home that wants to see it, if you go to the town website, you can see that under the planning department, or is
Yep.
that?
Under the planning department still. We're gonna split it into two
Yep.
different web pages, the planning board and the planning department, because Kevin and I separately do all of this grant stuff, which is not related to the planning board all the time, so.
And so each of the departments, you can find the mission statement for the department.
Yes.
In their section on the town website.
Yes.
So, and the town website is an excellent resource. I'll plug the accountants section. It has all of the budget information that we go over. So everyone in town can see that. If they go to abingtonma.org, no, .gov, not org. We're not
We're not an org anymore. We used to be. We're .gov now.
Yep, abingtonma.gov, and you can go to any of the departments or the boards, you can find all of the information on there. You can see meeting agendas, meeting minutes, who is in which department in town. You can find Liz Shea
Yeah.
in the
I'm in there.
planning, in the planning department, so.
And I
Sorry to-
have, that's okay, I've
sorry
been
to
working, that you just
sidebar
brought
there.
up. So another sidebar, I've been working with Sam Lenahan, who's the person who does our website, to get a separate area just for town plans. So there's a school strategic plan, a library strategic plan, our master plan, our open space and recreation plan, our housing production plan, all of that stuff, I'm trying to get to one place. So it's easy for people to find it if anybody wants to learn any more about all these plans that we have. So, another fun fact about the website. But I digress. Leading into, I was at another meeting before I came here, and it's right at the top of our achievements. The MVP 2.0 process, we are moving into phase 2. That was a two-part grant. The first one was kind of doing this deeper dive into Abington and people who don't normally participate in government, maybe not English speaking, maybe like affordable housing or lower income people, and talking to them about climate resiliency and what they would like to see happen, because we then had $50,000 to do a project, and we are building garden beds at Green Street Park and down at Lincoln Boulevard down the street. We hope this is kind of a phase 1 model that we can then branch out to other places once we have the cost of what it will take for us to do all of this. And maybe when we have some money, or if somebody wants to sponsor, we can move it to different places, but at least we'll have a model to move forward at some other point. It's not even very loosely based on Griffins, it's a lot of based on Griffins, except moving it out into sites where people might not be able to drive to Griffin's or get to Griffin's, they can get to the park, and for the people right down the street, it'll be right in their backyard, literally. So,
And for those that don't know, in this context, MVP stands for,
municipal vulnerability preparedness. It's the fancy term for climate resiliency. We participated in the 2.0 process. We were already an MVP community, which was a whole different process, and we were test pilots for this 2.0 process, which is a wonderful place to be because you can make all the mistakes in the world. And it's all beginning, so we learned from that.
And we do have a $50,000 grant.
We had 45 to start on the deep dive, and then the 50 is going to pay for the garden beds. And we have a group now of community liaisons who are so enthusiastic. It's fabulous. I love meeting with them. They can't wait to get into this and bring everybody in with them. So it's actually a great group to meet with. So Island Road Bridge, fingers crossed, we still have $1 million. Every time I go on the website, it's still there. I have heard otherwise. We are now in the process of, we finished up with the Mass Historical Commission. We got reimbursed for our design for that, and now we've moved on to the environmental permitting process. We have 8 years to spend this money. I'm hoping it's still there next year.
And this is a federal,
This was money from Congressman Lynch's office, so it's community
not community
project funding.
preservation.
It's CPF, I can't
Yeah.
remember what the acronym stands for. But anyway, so I'm working with the engineer, and it's now gone back to Mass Historical for them to say it's okay to do the work with a preservation restriction that they required us to put on to do the design. And now they have to give us permission to work on the bridge because we have a preservation restriction on it. So it gets convoluted, but that's kind of where we are now. Our open space and recreation plan, I actually got notified yesterday or the day before, it's been approved. There's a list of 10 things that need to be done to make it perfect. When those items are complete, it will have an approved plan, but right now the town can apply for funding because the plan is done and it's good till 2035, so it's good for 10 years. And we can apply for park grants and DCS grants and stuff like that. We had $100,000 for economic development. We had to spend those by the end of June. So we purchased 4 new solar lamps. We were gonna do some work at Arnold Park, but the DPW has to do a stormwater project down there, and anything we wanted to do was sort of in the limits of the stormwater project. So we flipped it fast and we bought 4 new solar lamps. I don't know if anybody's driven down North Ave. There's really no lights down there, and we had some community engagement where that's the most feedback. We got that and accessible parking were the 2 big feedback items we got from that community engagement. So we purchased 4 new lights. We hope to throw like a light a year in a capital plan to slowly replace everything that's in there. These lights have basket hangers, and I did save some money for flowers. And we're gonna have some flowers, planters with flowers around North Abington as well. I know some of the businesses have them down there, some don't, so we're trying to even the score on both ends of the road and have flowers everywhere. So that may end up being next spring, as we roll into winter. I don't know who wants to keep plants warm and watered in January, so.
I'm not volunteering.
No, neither am I.
Greg might.
Yeah. Oh, I heard a yes, right, Greg? Our housing production plan is done and has been submitted to the state. This will give our Affordable Housing Trust a fabulous roadmap to move forward. They, as you guys know, they have kind of their own source of funding through the CPA funds. One of the things I asked that they add in there, and it's something the town manager's been asking them to do for several years, is to hire a part-time person. I know that's a bad word right now, but they can pay for it out of their own money, and that person could then have a first-time, like manage a first-time home buyers program. We had a grant years ago, a CBDG grant from the federal government, that people could take out a low-interest loan to repair their homes, so it's helping people to stay in their homes that otherwise might not be able to afford to do that. We can do that with our CPA housing money. There's a lot of programs we can do to help people get into a house or stay into a house with that money. And that's all laid out that, hopefully we'll get that report up, that nothing has been thrown up onto the website yet because it was still all in draft form. But he gives a ton of explanations and examples in other communities of where these other plans have worked and how they've worked and all of that stuff. It really is a great document for them to use. We have a Safe Streets for All grant, which will now crash right into what Old Colony Planning Council is doing for regional safety. These are just for the roads in Abington.
Sorry, Liz, I just want
That's
to
okay.
back up. The new hire that you were talking about was, you
Would
said
be-
could be funded out of,
Out of the Affordable Housing Trust, if that makes sense. That trust gets funded out of CPA funds every
so
year.
CPA money could fund for that.
Well, it goes into the Affordable Housing Trust. When we set that up, yes. They get a piece of the
Bing,
pie
bing.
every year, right?
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah. And it goes right
Would be
into
funded through
there.
CPA funds, not through the general.
Correct. Has nothing to do with the general fund.
So it wouldn't affect the overall budget?
No. And if you kept it under 19 and a half hours, they wouldn't be
Wouldn't
benefit
get
eligible. So
benefits, so.
it would keep it out of that. Scott has actually been encouraging them to do that for several years now because it's, there is so much that can be done.
Yep.
And if we have a trust, we should use it, right? We should try to help people who need some help. So that $300,000 got pulled back for a little bit earlier this year, and we got it back. And they recently approved our contract. Scott's working on a bid document. So we'll go out to bid, and we will start doing some temporary, this is not my wheelhouse, safety measures on different roads, I guess is the best way to say that. I think Hancock Street is one of them, and I think it's either Center Ave or Central Street is the other. I'm not sure, so it's been a couple of years now. And then all of that data will go into the regional plan. That OCPC is kind of, I'm doing the mastermind for. This year, one of the grants we applied for was out of community planning in the One Stop portal, and we got $60,000 to review our zoning, which hasn't been done in a long time. There's a lot of, not a lot, there are some inconsistencies that need to be addressed, but what we've been doing is kind of hodgepodge. Every year something comes along and we try to address it, fix it, and we just need to do a
Whole.
holistic look at all of it and have it move forward. That's not to say we're not gonna do some zoning this year, boys and girls. Because apparently we have to, Scott told me the other day, we have to redo the cannabis zoning. I don't know about that. And then we have to do a battery, at least a battery energy storage.
So what you're saying is we're putting cannabis back on the ballot at town meeting.
I hope we're not. He just said, oh,
It'll
we
draw
have
a
to have
crowd.
a model bylaw. And I'm like, what do you mean? We have a model bylaw. Like, the lawyers drafted it. It wasn't me going, oh, this looks good. So,
When you say that for a preview, more or less?
I don't think it'll change the licensure, because our
Okay.
licenses are based on population, much as the alcohol licenses are based
Okay.
on population, yeah,
I
so.
actually thought that the cannabis ones were based on the alcohol one,
Oh, they were, I'm sorry, yeah.
which
are
is based on population.
Yeah.
So it is trickle down based on
Right,
population, but
right.
it's specifically tied to the
To the number of
alcohol.
alcohol licenses, which I don't think
licenses.
have gone up, I'm not
I
sure
don't
about
think so.
that.
Andrew,
But we have
I
five,
don't, it's not really your,
not his wheelhouse.
not really your wheelhouse, but you tend to
You know,
know
it's
the
my friend
answers to these
Nancy's
questions. so. I tend to turn to Andrew and Andrew has the answer.
Right?
Andrew does have every answer,
Right.
oddly enough.
It's like Yoda down there, right?
You do a good job with it, so.
So, I'm not quite sure what this is all about, this
Okay.
messiness we speak of, but,
Not related anyway to the budget right now.
I know, right?
No,
Right,
but
that'll be-
there are very frequently a lot of items on the warrant that I get to defer to you.
Right, right. Well, here are gonna be a couple. the Department of Energy and something, DOER, is now, next September or December, gonna have model bylaws for battery storage and solar. We have a solar bylaw, we don't have a battery energy storage bylaw. That's kind of tricky. So I don't know, I guess.
That might be good though, 'cause since all things are exploding.
Well, that's what I mean, they're exploding, so I'm not sure. Like, I know our fire department's well
Like
trained.
getting huge or physically exploding?
Like physically
physically
exploding, so not
That's
having
what
them
I
near houses.
That is what I
Right.
thought that you meant.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
So it's also my understanding, we only have one place in town that it would be a good location for. So maybe that's how that all ends, I don't know. Again, that'll be a January thing. And then I don't know if we're gonna do solar or not. We have a solar bylaw, I don't know if we need to update it. I guess we'll see. And then we got $350,000 this year to explore stormwater with Rockland, which is fabulous, because that might help feedback to our Abington Rockland water issues, if we can figure out where some stormwater is going. So we worked on that last spring with the Rockland Town Planner, and so hopefully we'll have good news in 2 years.
Do we think, and this goes to both of you, that would be something that might in any way decrease our MS4 costs on a year-to-year basis? I'm gonna guess no, but
I don't know.
it would be nice if it
I
did.
can ask John about that, right?
Yeah,
I know he's doing, he's gonna do the MS4 education thing out here and at Arnold Park. I know that's why those are getting done. But yeah, I can ask him if we're chasing stormwater all over, and we're gonna, hopefully, we had asked, the head of the science department at the high school, if, one of her classes could
oh, that would be,
participate,
that
so
would be fantastic.
that's fabulous.
That's a great opportunity.
Yeah, we like to kind of try to do that, we can collaborate, like we had a high school student on the MVP Part 1.
Nice.
And we had a woman who volunteered at the food pantry who translated, and they did a video for for the process, because we were the test dummy group. So somebody just sent me a copy of that the other day, and I'm like, oh, they knocked it out of the park. They did a great job, so that was fun. And the students voted on the student themselves, which again, was
Yeah.
fabulous. So I told you, I hope we can get our ADA grant. And then we hope to be able to finish the second phase of the heat pumps at the senior center. And that will be at zero cost to the town. That $219,000 is installed and turnkey. And then I hope, I guess the police department is gonna need some heating, cooling assistance, that we can get this in and done before the spring, because that's the next round of Green Communities grant.
If we are able to get the ADA grant, what kind of things would we be looking to do with
So
that?
the first thing we have to do, because it's all about your building blocks, right? Is we have to do a self-evaluation and transition plan. And then at some point, we're gonna need to apply for additional funding for the bridge, because we have to make the bridge accessible. It's maybe a little included in the design costs, it's just by the time we get there, I don't think we'll have the money for it. So, you know, in 6 years down the road, the in-between, I think there's people who are kind of lining up to say, oh, if we get approved, can we do this, can we do that? It would help make paths accessible. As part of our open space and recreation plan, they went around to every park, Island Grove, everywhere.
Open spaces in the town.
Yes, and to see if they were accessible, and if they weren't,
Yeah.
you know, what would be the remedy for that? So that's actually all included, all those forms from the back. They don't require them anymore. We were the last community to have to do that. So, but anyway,
But having to do that kind of puts us ahead for
Yeah.
if we get it.
Absolutely.
We won't
It-
have, if we get it, we would have to do that kind of.
Right, they would have to be
assessment, so.
evaluated. So that'll help with our evaluation piece of that plan. Which will be great, talking about things that will help with plans down the road. Our master plan expires in 2029, so I'll be back in the next year or two asking for funding for that. They cost upwards of $100,000. We hope to get a grant out of the one-stop portal for community planning, the same place we just got this grant, that's master plan grants are available through there. And then the other thing is the planning board, every other month, we go through another section of the master plan and update it as to what's been done. So like, we keep a checklist, okay, that got done, that got done. So by the time we actually go to do it, a lot of the work will be done. Somebody's not gonna have to go through and sift through all this information to figure out what's done and what's not done, because we will have already done it at meetings along the way. So we're being very conscious of like the cost of that and how we can defray that 2 years out, because it's a pricey thing, but it's also a very necessary thing for our community to have. And then, as you guys who were there know, we did the ADU bylaw last year. I'm not sure if Nick told you, we had the second most applications in Plymouth County, Plymouth being the first one. Some of those were, they applied and then they withdrew their application. But we've had multiple inquiries about people doing a detached, because that's all the planning board's gonna look like, are detached ADUs. But I think he's got several downstairs that have been permitted and are on their way to being built. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions for me on any of that stuff? I will say with the zoning, I'm gonna try to look at maybe a mixed use on Route 18. Housing can be a good word or a bad word, depending on what side of that fence you're on. But housing can also help a commercial building stay, the rent, the consistent rent that a residential piece brings in could keep help keep the whole business afloat or the whole building afloat. So that's one of the things we're gonna look at and see.
Where on Route 18?
Again, we have to look at that, because there are some kind of strictly residential
Oh,
areas.
so I thought you were talking about a building that was already there.
Oh, no, we're just talking about
Zoning.
zoning.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So for the whole length of Route 18, what areas would this be a good idea?
Okay.
Obviously, from Weymouth down to maybe 18 and 139.
Okay, I thought you were talking about an empty building. I was like, which one?
yeah,
It's
no, which
empty.
one? Yeah, no.
That's my bad.
No, I wish. I wish I had those thoughts already, like there was a vacant building that would be good for that. I mean, we do have some vacant properties. Actually, we don't have a ton of vacant properties. I mean, it probably seems like we do more so than
No, I can only think of like
Right?
one empty
not a lot of
building off
vacant
my head.
storefronts, because we looked through that. Arnold Shoe Factory across from Arnold Park, we reached out to him because the state was offering grant funding to help rehab, to make those types of old buildings into residential. And he's like, no, I'm good. So,
Is that just empty?
no, he's got, the sandpaper factory over in Rockland, which is kind of like an artist lot? The same gentleman owns both of them. And I think that's sort of, there are some artists in there now.
Oh, okay.
There's some guy who sells books, I think, out of there.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
I just thought it was empty all these years.
yeah, no, there's stuff going on in there. There's a few offices, but I think there's some artists in there now too, so.
Very cool.
Yeah, so if we could get more in there, right? I will also tell you, the planning board has not had a lot of submissions this year, like serious drought, as we know, no new growth, no water. And I will tell you, last week, we got 2 submissions. I was like, whoa. So 10 units, an 8-unit building, 1 beds, 2 units with 2 beds, and then 3 units on Linwood Street, 3 houses, 3 single-family homes. So fingers crossed that continues. see a little bit more of that. So I think that was it for all my fun stuff. I'm going to the not fun stuff now, the numbers.
I have a quick question about ADUs.
Yeah.
What, other than bringing, I assume, families or friends closer on the same property, but what benefit financially does that have to Abington?
So you're, in essence, creating a second single-family unit dwelling.
Yeah.
It increases,
So it
would increase
increases-
property value.
Yeah, the property value, if it's
assessed property
detached.
value.
And then here's the thing, and I'm not sure how this works, if it makes any difference at all with the law, says that neither of those, so one person has to own both units, but it can be rented.
Okay.
So I can go to Florida, build an ADU, rent my house, be done. So I'm not sure how that works, like downstairs with the assessors, if it makes any difference. I'm not sure that it does. But,
Do you pay taxes on both?
yep. Yep.
Because it's still one property, correct?
It's one property. You can't split the property. It's got to be owned by the same person, but you
So-
can rent them to
So
different
the
people.
whole property is what would be assessed when
Yes.
we're assessing.
Okay.
Yes. And some of these are like downstairs in a finished basement. Different from an in-law, it has to be its own separate unit,
Okay.
right? Like,
Multiple egress.
yeah, you know, all the
Follow all
safety
the
stuff
codes.
that the state requires, all those safety codes have to be followed, fire code, all of that. So, and it's,
But you pay double the tax to do that?
I wouldn't say double, it's 900 square feet,
But you'll pay additional tax.
so you'll pay additional. They can't be any bigger than 900 square feet. There's a formula they use to calculate the size based on the size of the house, the square footage of the house.
Greg's gonna build an ADU for his kids.
Nice.
I'm just trying to think, if it's only 900 square feet, what's the additional tax revenue you bring in compared to what would then be used as services for the town?
Well, at 900 square feet, I'm not sure that we're gonna have a lot of children there. I mean, I can't answer, that's kind of beyond,
I
but
grew up in a 1,000 square foot house with 2 kids and mom and a dad.
then maybe we have 2 kids that come in. I don't know. But traditionally, that, what they were talking about is it ends up being a 1-bed unit. And then that's how that ends up on our services, like water and sewer is a 1-bed, because they count beds.
So it's a good question though, Greg, as to
Yeah.
how this will balance out. It
Yeah.
was a state regulation,
State.
correct? It's a state regulation that we had to
We
adopt,
did.
so we put the appropriate,
Well, that was effective February 1st, and then we adopted our bylaw in April,
yep,
which gave us a little
more
More-
control over what,
yeah, I can't even say control,
Gets
it's like if it's
permitted.
detached, there's gotta be screening, and you can't build a patio on the neighbor's side, and only a few things we could do. Anything that looked like we were trying
to
to stop
restrict
it, or,
Yeah.
you know, that they weren't allowing that.
Yep.
It's interesting for sure that we have like the second most.
In Plymouth County, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I wouldn't, that's
Would not
interesting.
have expected that.
No, I wouldn't
Just
either.
means everybody wants to come to Abington.
It's a
Happy,
fun
happy,
time.
joy, right? So, you want to look at our pitiful filing fees,
They are quite small.
right? Yeah, they are quite small. We just deposited some cash. And we've had very little record request fees, which to me is good. Because those tend to take more time than we ever get paid. Going through those. And then, anybody have questions on our pitiful fees? Hopefully it'll be bigger next year. And then town planner and deputy town planner, and those are our salaries, with a 2% increase, as Andrew recommended. And then Did I?
We'll be very happy, or at least somewhat happy, if that 2% increase is matched by our
Right?
state aid increase this year.
I know,
Would be nice.
right?
Would be almost double of last year's.
Right. Yeah, I don't get that, and it's very frustrating. I think everybody is frustrated by that.
Yes.
Yes.
Perhaps not everybody.
No, 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 maybe not everybody.
Perhaps not the governor's office.
No, apparently not. I will agree with you there.
Everybody else, though.
Exactly. There is $10,000 in my budget under other professional and technical services line item, and it got put in there last year. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. It is to clean Island Grove, because we were cleaning Island Grove out of CPA funds, and I don't know how that ended up in my lap, but it did.
Was it because CPA funds were not, that was not an appropriate use of
We had used
CPA
them for
funds?
maintenance, so we used it for the initial cleaning
So-
treatments.
So, and this question is more to Andrew, is this appropriate to go in the planning department, or should it go to DPW?
DPW might be a better spot for it.
So maybe we look at potentially moving that to
The
DPW.
deal was though, I was working with the company. So that's why we kept it in my budget, because I already had the relationship with them. I think it started with the woman who used to work for conservation. She's no longer with the firm. I got tagged on it because she was not responding, is what was going on. So I think that's how it ended up in my lap, but,
I know those things.
right?
Hey, you did a good job with this.
So let's see if you can do this. I mean, it's literally just paying a bill, but, like, I got a bill from them the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have reports for any of this stuff. Why am I, well, you're supposed to pay it in thirds, and I'm like, I get that, but worry about that every month. So they sent the report, so I could make sure that they've done the work.
Yep.
And I think we talked to DPW, or at least I did, and they said, oh, please keep it. But if you want to talk to them and say, please take it back,
We'll have the conversation.
okay. And I think I talked to Scott about that too. I'm gonna see what the actual amount paid was this year and at what our obligation contractually is to them for next year. Maybe
Yeah.
we can shave a couple of $1,000s off on that.
That'd be good.
So the difference between the level service and level funded is I just took what our salaries went up out of other buckets, kind of across the board. The other professional and technical funds, and also pay for some of our classes that we can take, community planning training, and they have like a class out in Worcester in the spring. So we both went to that last year, and I have to say it was hugely helpful. They had one, it was like Conservation for Dummies, which is helpful for those of us who sit in those meetings, and go, oh, what, wetlands? But it was extremely helpful. And the travel would cover what we needed to get out there and get back. So there's not a lot in there. Advertising is when we have to advertise all those zoning changes. So I'm probably gonna actually ask for more money next year or the year after, depending on when we finish that zoning change, because if we're gonna advertise to change the whole zoning bylaw, or even just pieces, that can get expensive. If the newspapers are still in business. At that
I was
point in
gonna say,
time.
where do you advertise? Is it
Our
Facebook?
Enterprise.
Oh, the Enterprise,
Yep.
okay.
And it goes on the website, and if it's something that's going on next to you, as an abutter, you get a notice. We don't pay for that, though, the neighbor does.
Okay.
The applicant does, yeah. So if it's a zoning stuff, it just gets in the enterprise.
Okay,
Time was tried and true,
yes.
been doing it since day one, so, yeah. So, and you can see it's just, I'm a whopping 0.39% of the budget, is that what I am, Andrew? It's not on this sheet that I have, but,
It's a small amount.
yeah. And just Kevin and I hanging out, doing our thing. Yeah, I have,
As we can see on the grant list.
on our grant list.
Doing a lot.
And I have to say, he's really taken on that ADA role. He's doing a lot of virtual classes with that and trying to make sure he's prepared should anything happen, so. Yeah,
Excellent. Anyone have questions for Liz?
no, because we're gonna listen to Andrew and then we get to go home. I got you.
Greg,
Thank you.
anything?
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
Andrew?
Any budget for you, Andrew?
That's all right, I got it.
Now we have our town accountant.
Hello.
Andrew, what's the mission of the town accountant?
I've been instructed not to read off the sheet.
Andrew, I'd like it verbatim, please.
From memory.
Basically, every dollar that comes through the town goes through my office. We check over payroll and all the invoices, make sure that things are being paid on time. We also look out for things like fraud and errors and mistakes and stuff like that. So, you know, we're protecting taxpayers' dollars, basically. As far as achievements go this year, we started an internal control review to strengthen our financial processes. So basically, what we are doing is looking at other departments, any department that takes in money or spends money. We focus on the bigger ones this time around, but we're just making sure that, you know, those revenue and expense processes, you know, we're tracing through, like, when someone takes in money, how is that handled? Is there any chance that something funny might go on? And if there is, we're trying to correct that with procedures.
Nice.
We're also looking at establishing inventory control processes. So departments have a lot of machinery and equipment, a lot of tools and things like that that do cost quite a bit of money when you add them up. And what we'd like to do is eventually start a process where we can make sure that the departments are keeping track of that, and my office will come in and, you know, do random checks to make sure that all the equipment is accounted for. There's 3 people in my department, and we do a ton of work. Last year, it was almost 10,000 transactions, and we paid out to, you know, about 1,300 vendors. And we also do, obviously, the accounting side. So we process a lot of journal entries. I'd also like to take this moment to talk about the accounting webpage. In addition to, you know, processing things, we do a lot of reporting. So if anyone in town is interested in seeing, you know, how the town is doing, just come over to the accounting website and you'll see this button. So we're currently in FY26. So if you click this,
So
we'll
real
have-
quick, while you're doing that, I'll just explain to people that don't understand what FY26 means and why it's November of 2025, and we're talking about that. The town runs fiscal year from July 1st to June 30th. And so the fiscal year is listed as the later, whatever the latest year that's part of the latest calendar year that's part of the fiscal year. So the fiscal year we're in right now started July 1st, 2025, ends June 30th, 2026. So it counts as fiscal year 26. So right now we are working on, and we were going over with each of the departments that have been here tonight, the FY27 budget, which is confusing because we're in 2025, but it's next year's budget.
correct.
It's one of the things I had to wrap my brain around when I first joined this committee, so. Sorry, continue.
No, that's all right.
FY26 reports.
Yes. So at the beginning of every month, I put together a report for the town's revenues and expenditures. So if you're curious, just come in here and we can take a look at November's real quickly. The first page is general fund revenue. So this is all the money that comes in through the treasurer's office, and you can see what's been collected versus how much we've estimated. Also, the second part of the report is the general fund expenditures. So when we vote the budget at town meeting, we set the budget, and that budget column is right here. And you can see how the town is doing spending-wise throughout the year. And it'll also show you how much of that budget is remaining. So this is publicly available. If you're curious, always take a look. Also on the accounting webpage, we are doing the FY27 budget. All of the documents that you've seen today, you can come in here and click on this button and it'll take you to our budget book. And that will have all of that information and you can see it as it develops.
Can also see in there, Andrew keeps that updated with our schedule of when the finance committee meetings are and which departments will be attending them. So if you
Yeah.
have particular departments you're interested in and want to listen in on or come to that meeting and ask questions, you can find the schedule there when we know what the schedule is.
I'll also post the ACAM YouTube video on this schedule as they're produced throughout the budget season. All right. So no major changes to my budget. As I mentioned, we have 3 people in my office, including me. I have an assistant.
I think you'd be in trouble with the other departments around town if there were major changes to your budget.
Right. Yes. There's just 3 of us, but we do quite a bit of work. As far as budget goes, I included all the contractual obligations, and to make sure that it's level funded, I cut back on a couple of budgetary line items. So I reduced education and training and auditing and accounting. This auditing and accounting line item is not for the outside auditors. This is for special projects. We haven't really had much need of it in the past couple of years, but it's just there in case there's something that we need to take a look at.
Yep.
The outside auditors-
Basically looking at it, saying, this will not be the year that we do a special project.
Right.
If we need to do a special project.
Right.
We'll hold off until we're in better fiscal shape, so makes sense to me.
The outside auditors that we use, the company is called CBIZ, and that's funded out of the town manager's budget. We're contracted with them through fiscal 27. I think the fiscal 27 audit. And it's about $52K a year. Also included in my budget are the state and county assessments. So what these are, it's not really part of the budget. These are mandatory. These are deductions to state aid that pay for various state programs that we are a part of. So these are what we're paying for fiscal 26. There's about, our state aid is deducted by about 1.6 million, and the vast majority of that is school choice and charter school tuition, as you can see here. There's a couple other line items, so we pay for mosquito control, the Old Colony Planning Council, MBTA, and these are, again, not part of the budget, but deductions to state aid.
It looks good to me. Pretty straightforward and mandatory.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the organizational chart.
Straightforward.
Quite
The
literally.
assistant town accountant is kind of off to the side-ish.
Yeah.
You didn't
Just
wanna
to show
do 2 lines.
just to show hierarchy.
Again, Andrew's the captain.
I have some general questions for the group.
Fire away. Is it general questions on the accountant budget?
No, I'm
or
obviously not questioning Andrew's
Okay.
accounting stuff.
Does anyone, before we
Oh,
go,
yes.
just before
Sorry.
you go to that, does anyone have accountant department questions? Greg? Muted Greg?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
do we want to have Andrew give us kind of the state of where we're
Sure.
at first?
Yeah,
or do you
let's,
wanna
let's go through all
launch that
other,
first? Okay.
yes.
So, back to item 1 on the agenda. That we skipped past because I was late and Yolanda was ready to roll. What's the latest status, Andrew?
All right.
Anything changed in the last couple weeks?
Not much has changed. We're still waiting on the governor's budget at the end of January.
Yeah.
Right now, we're currently meeting with all the department heads and going through their budgets and making sure that, the spreadsheet looks great, trying to get them booked onto FinCom dates. But right now, we're just kind of in a holding pattern with that. The fiscal advisory committee was supposed to meet tonight, but that got canceled. And I believe the first meeting is next Wednesday at 6, so before FinCom.
Question that got raised to me that I thought was odd was on the website, it had both our meeting for tonight and the meeting for the Financial Advisory Committee meeting, but the Financial Advisory Committee meeting was set to go to 7:15.
Oh, really? Oh,
It's like, and we have 2
yeah.
representatives on that, and
I would be there too.
You and Scott would be there, so that would not really let us start at 7. So just in the future, maybe not have overlap, whether it's us or them.
right, yes.
I was told it would last no more than an hour, so.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I didn't expect it to last more than an hour, but it was scheduled for that, so figured I'd ask. Continue.
Oh, that's all I had.
Okay.
That was easy.
Emily, fire away, general
Oh,
questions.
wait, are you just hanging, observing? Cool. Oh, good, you get to experience my stupid questions.
Just remember, if you have the question, odds are there's probably a bunch of other people in town that have the same question.
Okay,
It's entirely possible that they don't, but odds are that they do.
first question. What is our role in, these have been presented to us, assuming every other department will do the same.
Yep.
Are we just taking this information as is? Are we advocating for changes? Are we,
So you're looking at this as new member of the finance committee.
yes,
What do I do with the information that's being presented?
right,
to
because
me?
there's a difference between, do
Yep.
we have questions for the information presented in front of us versus
So,
an argument, not in like a combative way, but
No.
a
yeah, so,
persuasive, like, hey, is this, and I think to Greg's point about the town nurse, right? It's like, well,
Yes.
is that our jurisdiction to,
so it is our job to question things
Okay.
like that. Something like what we talked about, say, where there was the strange thing on Liz's budget. That we
Mm-hmm.
were like, doesn't this belong in DPW?
sure,
Questioning like, is this the appropriate place for this? Questioning, do we need to spend as much money as we're spending on this? Sometimes, and this will probably not often be the case this year, sometimes we question, should we be spending more money than this on this to provide,
Yep.
to provide this in the right way because it's not effective if we're
Sure.
not doing that? Or how are we best serving the town with the money that the town is spending? Part of what we're doing, part of this, especially for you being newer, is taking in all of the information, and then as we get to, we've met with all of the department heads, we have a better picture as we go through, we get the governor's budget, we get, maybe in time, we get the legislature's budget, which is often very close to the governor's budget.
Sure.
We see what actual numbers are for growth, for receipts, for revenues. We get a much better picture of exactly where we are. And then we kind of dig in on what do we need to do to get from point A to point B to get to a balanced budget.
Okay.
And so we keep track of all of this stuff. We don't have to keep all of the papers because Andrew has it all on the accountant's website, so you don't have to.
I'm gonna bring them all back every week.
You go for it.
So you can
I'm
do that
good with
if
the
you can do
spreadsheet.
that if that's the way that you work with physical papers. Totally good. I work better digitally at this
Yeah.
point. But taking it in, taking notes on it. I've been like, if you notice, I've been
Yeah.
taking notes while we go through. Some of it for me is having information year after year in my
Sure.
notes to go back and look to say, hey, did we question this? What ended up happening with that? Some of it is I'll go back and look when we've met with all of the departments at where were areas that stood out that
Okay.
maybe we need to question that or
Sure.
take a second look at that area and say, if we need to squeeze this much out, where are the areas that we can squeeze?
Okay.
And where are the areas that are higher priorities and the areas that are lower priorities?
Okay.
And so
Okay.
part of the process of not just coming with the budget and going line by line, but going through the mission and the goals and the accomplishments of the departments is allowing us a better picture of the department itself.
Yeah.
So we know all of the things the department does, because not a lot of people know
No.
the things that the health department does or that the inspectional services do
Right.
or
Planning.
planning or the council on aging.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a 20, how old are you, Abby?
28.
If you're a 28-year-old who doesn't necessarily go to activities at the senior center and interact with seniors, you probably don't know a lot of what the council on aging actually does. Some people do because they've grown up in the town and they
Sure.
have relationships that are built, or that's where they like to volunteer or something. So, but it
Okay.
definitely is, that's a fantastic question because
Well, I hate to
it's-
sit on a committee and not know
No,
what the
exact-
responsibility is, so.
Exactly, and it's a question of why are we here?
Well,
Why is everyone coming before us?
Yeah, I was like, if this is all set
And
in stone, like.
So much, honestly, the yeoman's work of putting the budget together is done for sort of in stacked upon. It starts with the, like, Andrew, Scott, and the department heads doing their own department
Yeah.
budgets. Then the financial team within town, Scott, Andrew, who else is on the
Assessors and treasurer, so Lindsay.
assessors and treasurers? So financial team that looks over the whole thing, and week after week after week, they're getting the updated numbers and working through stuff. They'll bring things to us and we'll have an update each week.
Sure.
And we'll be able to question, where's this at, where's that at, and
Okay.
what can we do there? But they're doing the yeoman's work of it on a week-to-week basis, and then we get to kind of the end.
Sure.
And if we're not balanced, that's where we do end up doing a lot of work.
Okay. So at this stage, it's just information gathering.
Exactly.
With some like,
Definitely with questions.
Probing
Like
around,
I think
making
one
sure
of the
we
good
understand.
things was we questioned that money that was in Liz's budget. And
Right.
she's like, I can probably shave a few thousand off of it.
yeah.
So,
A few thousand here.
Putting that
Yeah.
into the ear of the department heads
Sure.
and being like, okay, is that really the amount that you need to spend there?
Sure.
Definitely helps to work the process for each of the
Okay.
departments. Later in the process, in most years, I don't know about this year, we'll have a capital plan that we will look at for one-time spending, not like part of the
Yeah.
operational budget of the town. And a lot of times we will have, like Greg is great at questioning items on there and being like, okay, what are our options here for that? Can we do this or that? And then we'll work with the different department heads to say, okay, how do we get what we're trying to get for less money?
Yeah, okay.
So.
Can I ask another silly question?
might
Well,
not
mine
be
wasn't,
silly.
mine
That
wasn't
was-
silly apparently, so.
That was definitely
You're
not
up.
silly.
So with level funded, I expected those numbers to be the exact same as this year's budget, and they're not. But like maybe that's just me being very literal.
So,
and I've been
yeah.
accused of that before.
For assessors, inspectional services, and health, they were actually lower than level funded. Because assessors got rid of they're not doing the reval every year. So they got rid of 30K, so that went down.
So
then-
maybe I was just looking at like item by item. So
Right, so here, to what Andrew's saying, if you're looking item by item, not every single item was exactly the same as last year.
yeah.
But like, for example, one of the items where money was added in the health department was for the nursing services that we talked about.
Okay.
However, we don't have the salary for the public nurse.
Okay, so that's it.
So
Being
the amount
very
that was
literal.
in nursing services was significantly less than what the salary for the public
Okay.
nurse was. So the level funded is actually lower because of that offset.
So if you look at my budget, the FY26 bottom line is 236, 210. The level funded line is exactly the same. The salaries went up
Yeah.
because it's contractual, so I had to cut expenses to pay for that.
Right.
Okay.
So that was the next thing I was gonna say was Liz talked about they have 2% salary.
that was my next
salary
question.
increases, and she for the level funded, she decreased a couple of the expenses.
Okay.
To offset the contractual increases.
Okay.
So those are contractual?
In most instances, that's like one of the things that I had asked Yolanda is
Okay.
who's part of a union, who's part of a contract. The contracts that we have with unions in
Oh,
the
are
town,
only for them, okay.
they have contractual
Gotcha.
increases, not everybody.
Yeah.
But Andrew, what percentage of town employees are on some sort of collectively bargained contract? It's most, right?
It's most, yeah.
Because that's teachers, fire, and
Yeah.
police.
Teacher, fire, police are the big ones, but we also have the
think
town
you said
management
management.
union.
Yeah, department heads are union,
Yeah.
police, fire,
Clerical union,
clerical.
so
Okay,
most of the town employees are
sure.
on some sort of collectively bargained contract where they have an increase that we have to account for.
Yeah.
It's a good question because most people don't think of it that way. They think if we're saying
Yes.
level funded, the same money as last year, then
Yes.
it should
I'm a
be,
very
it should be
literal
the
person.
same.
So it was like that
Fair.
doesn't match.
Yep.
But that makes sense.
So if you look at health, their budget last year was 320K and now it's 114.
Yes.
So less than level funded.
Which is good.
Right,
Yes.
And as we discussed, hard to sustain,
right. That's,
but good for this year.
Yes.
Do we have other items on our agenda?
For tonight,
Yes.
we have liaison reports, correspondence, review of minutes, and discussion of next meeting.
Because I have one other question.
You can ask as many questions as you need.
I just have one other. Okay, I saw something, admittedly, yes, it was Facebook, but it was South Shore News, so that the selectmen voted unanimously to bring a 1 million vote to the town meeting for the cleanup project.
For the
Fire.
DPW.
DPW,
fire-
yes. So again, my question was like, does that not go through this? I'm just, yeah, I was a little,
That one,
I was a
They
little
wanted to spread
confused
that out
that,
multiple years.
well, it was over 10-year borrowing,
Yeah.
but I just like that matter in general. Like, what's the,
there's a, most financial issues come through us. There are some that fall under the purview solely of the selectmen.
okay, so,
The selectmen control what goes on the warrant for a town meeting,
okay,
so they can choose without conferring with us to
Okay.
put something on the warrant or not.
okay,
I don't know what but then we review the warrant and make recommendations. The selectmen do not make recommendations on the warrant. So if the 1.2 million does go on the warrant, before town meeting, it's something that we will discuss and provide a recommendation to the town on. And both in the printed warrant and then at town meeting.
okay,
So even if they decide, yes, this is gonna go to the town, we still have our say on it.
okay,
Does that make sense?
yes. I just was.
Right, like they could have not brought it to the town and then just said, hey, we need to take it out of the budget for this specific thing we're doing. But they didn't.
Right, for the budget that has already passed for the project, from what I understand, they could keep it within the bounds of the budget, but it would eliminate
Correct.
it would eliminate any wiggle room and ability to deal
Sometimes
with
you don't need,
other obstacles.
sometimes you just have to get something done at the cost that you told the town that you were gonna do.
Well, that,
Agreed.
admittedly, that's why I was a little surprised to see it, because I thought that would have come to us. So first of all, I was like, I would have remembered that. And it would have been in my notes. But yeah, then I read the art and it said because they'd eliminated the contingency funds. And I was like, okay, but yeah, so to me, it didn't track. And I was like, I feel like it would have been a conversation here, which is why I had the question.
Yeah, so when the entire project went in front of the town,
Yes.
we provided a we reviewed it, we
Yes.
discussed it, we provided a recommendation on it. You weren't on the committee at the time, we did tours of the DPW, the fire department, we had several meetings with the building committee, we went over things. Greg got very involved with some of the plans of what happened when the fire and DPW combined to have it be one project instead of just fire. And so we did a lot of work in preparation for
Sure.
when the town voted on it, so that we could provide what our committee felt was our best recommendation to the town on it.
Yeah.
With this vote that the selectmen are saying they're gonna put onto the warrant to go to the town, we'll do the same thing. We'll
Sure.
go over this and determine what we think is the right, like up or down, like it could be our decision is, like Greg said, we told the town this is what we gotta get it done in.
Okay, I didn't know, all right, I didn't know that
So-
was, okay,
Yeah, they can't just spend it.
yeah.
Like, they can't just.
Well, I just,
They can't just say, as the selectmen, yeah, we're gonna take an additional 1.2 million,
yeah,
so.
No, but they do say that whatever it is very much needed.
that, yeah, and I
They
know,
do,
I
but
know
The
this is,
answer is, the answer is never like that it's just something that somebody didn't budget for or went over on. It's that if it doesn't happen, the world comes to an end.
well, yeah, and I know this is more maybe for like the advisory committee, but just like the messaging of it is not, I think is not great. That we're already talking about a budget and then just to like have that put out there when there's already so many other things. I just saw it as kind of like this weird, like, because it didn't say, oh, it's needed for XYZ. It was just like, oh, they've eliminated the contingency fund. And I was like, that's the purpose of a contingency fund, like, and then you adjust accordingly. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I just felt like the messaging, and like, again, Facebook people are, but people were like really angry about it, and I'm like, this is like, I feel like part of the problem is that like when these like I don't want to say random news stories, but when these things are put out there, 1.2 million is a lot, and the other number people hear is like the $7-8 million deficit, and they're like, so
Yeah.
for this one project, like what's going on? I was like, it's a great question.
It is.
Like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify the relationship between.
Especially on a year, we're trying to think about an override.
Well, right, and like
Yeah.
there's so many other things to vote on that
Yes.
are. I don't want to say more important. Everything is, to be discussed, and
That's why a unanimous yes is weird, I think.
I thought that was weird too.
Facebook should
Like, we're in a time where everybody has to figure out how to cut
I know,
back,
but-
and by the way, this is literally digging up ground that a bunch of crazy stuff has been dumped on for the last however long, and nobody thought that, like, oh, it's just gonna be a normal thing. So I don't know, it will never end, so that's just one of the things that will never end. It just
Yeah.
keeps on going.
Like I said, it just caught me by surprise, so I wanted to clarify before I.
Yep. But no, that will come before us and we will discuss that. and
Okay.
Make a recommendation on it. When we have as much information as we can get
Yeah.
on it, so. But again, good question.
I felt like that one was a good one.
I do remember last meeting, and even I think a meeting before that, Scott had mentioned that they had used that contingency fund a lot sooner than they were expecting, and I think they had plans with that money if it wasn't going to be used to help furnish, I think. So I don't know,
Yes.
so we has been on the radar a little bit.
Well, I
but
remember
think the
that
unanimous-
conversation,
Yeah, but I think
the 1.6
quick
was,
vote.
yeah.
but
And bringing it to town meeting, right? Because I was like, oh, I didn't know we had talked about, bringing anything yet. So, okay, well, we shall see.
Other questions on the general state of the budget while we're on that portion of our agenda? I'm counting that as overall update
Yeah, I'm sure.
questions. No? Okay. Any liaison reports? Update for those watching and not here. I finally got the liaisons out. So all of the committee members have been hooked up with their department heads and connected and hopefully are sending messages and connecting and starting to build bonds there. So those are out there and we are obviously bringing department heads in. So we got to start there, but no reports. I did not check correspondence because I was running late, so we have nothing to report there. We do not have any minutes to review because we did not get any back this week before this week's meeting, which is totally fine.
I have a question about minutes. So I went to that training thing and they made it sound really scary if we don't have our minutes approved really fast. Is it okay?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
We won't be mad at you.
No, like, because I don't keep the official minutes, right?
Right. Our board secretary,
Okay.
Kelly, keeps the official minutes.
And they just made it sound really scary with the law and they were lawyers and. I don't want,
The process, from what I understand, the process of if somebody requests the minutes and we haven't posted the minutes yet, if we haven't made them available yet, we'll start with us being asked to make the minutes available,
okay.
which we would.
They made like life.
Which
as
we would
we
then
know
do
it
if
seem
we haven't
scary.
Lawyers.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge, that's like, we're okay there and can get things. I also don't know how many times our minutes have been requested,
Okay.
so.
You could also watch a video.
That's true. Floyd was there. Didn't it seem very scary, just life as you know it?
yeah, I mean, they mentioned Karen Reed, they got a little real for a second, so.
Yeah. They were like, all of your texts will and can be subpoenaed, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, that might be a bit much. So personal experience, my daughter did an internship in the Attorney General's office a couple summers ago and worked in the open meeting law section. And there is a guy that lives in Alabama or somewhere that apparently his hobby is states that allow anybody in the US to submit requests and complaints about open meeting law violations. He just peppers them out to every state that does that.
He needs a new hobby.
He does.
Like stat.
So there are people out there that do stuff like that. So we do try to keep them updated and get them posted as quickly as we can. Any other questions there? Our next meeting is next Wednesday, the 19th. Looks like we have the Veterans Department and the Water Department.
I'll see if I can add another one. We'll see. I'll let you know.
So, yep. So that's where we stand right now. Any questions on that? Anything to discuss? Any questions, motions?
All motion to adjourn.
There's a motion from Abby,
Second.
seconded by Emily. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Without any, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Greg,
I heard.
Aye.
there we go.
Thank you,
All
Greg.
those opposed, abstaining, it is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you, and we will see you next week.
Thanks,
Thank
Mom.
you.